Something that I talk about a lot with my patients and also in my Regulated and Thriving Kids membership is the fact that we're in the trenches working on our own nervous system, and we're also working on supporting and co-regulating our kids' nervous system. Now, we're probably the first generation to really value this, in that we don't just do what our parents did or other people did. There was less information back then, right? Like, we are in the age of information and the age where research is rapidly evolving, and we really want to do the best by our kids. And part of that is because when we became parents, we realized what we hadn't learned as a child, or perhaps our conditioning came out and we didn't want our kids to experience the same feelings that we experienced when we were kids. So we are in the trenches, we are doing the work, but we can do the best work and still have a really dysregulated child. Our children are not just a response to the current environment. Their nervous systems were developed from our nervous systems, which were developed from our parents' nervous systems. And this goes through generation to generation to generation, right? And this is when you start to get into like the intergenerational trauma stuff. We cannot expect that the work we're doing is going to be a recipe book that gives us results. A plus B does not always equal C. We might feel like we want it to because we've been conditioned to, I guess, like as all humans, we want to see that result and we want that recipe book approach, but it doesn't always work like that. We are working with kids who have generations of stuff. So even when it feels hard, even when it feels like you're not making change, I want you to know that you are making change. Even the tiniest little steps make change. And this goes for their diet, their how much sunlight they get, how well they breathe when they sleep, their sleep quality. This goes for literally everything, not just generational trauma, which I think most people link to like the emotional trauma or the emotional conditioning and patterns that have been passed down. But we know that epigenetically, physical changes are also passed down through generations, up to 3, though I hear now some science is saying up to 7. Either way, we need to remember, even when it feels hard, that it's not going to be easy, but we are making change. But we might not see that change until our kids have kids. Like we might not see the full extent of all of this effort. So I just encourage you to keep that in mind when you're having a hard day. And, if you are having a hard day, take a break. It's lifelong work, right? It's never ending. Yeah, and that's my message.